Build a better mousetrap and the world will beat a path to your door. The famous misquotation of Ralph Waldo Emerson is a driving mantra in our industry. Dave Weigel certainly builds a lot of mousetraps, including the Orion linkage. We rode it in southwest Utah to see if the Elkat might inspire the world to beat a path to Esker's door.
It is wiggly. I get it. So it's what, a 150 mil travel, 27.5-inch bike that felt very controlled and well-behaved climbing. You were sitting or standing. It had that very DW linkish feel to it where it just absorbed bumps, lots of traction, lots of rider feedback, but this really just plush contained ride and still maintaining like really impressive responsiveness.
Yeah, it's really weird. It seems as though you have contradictory things here. Lots of traction, a conforming plush feel, but you're standing up, you're mashing on the pedals, feels like everything's moving you forward, and it's very efficient feeling.
And it's especially impressive for a 27.5-inch bike for it to absorb bumps on the climbs so well.
We've been on so many bikes that are so long and so new school aggressive in their geometry that this was a little bit of a step back from that. It was a pretty constrained bike by most standards, about 460 millimeters reach or a 47.5-inch wheelbase, which a few years ago would have been a barge, and now it's actually kind of tight compared to some of the bikes that are out there. I felt, to me, just like a trail bike.
And it's interesting, it felt that way. They marketed this bike as not an enduro bike, not an XC bike, it's just a mountain bike. We all remember mountain bikes, we rode them. It's meant to do everything.
Do we still?
I sure hope so.
And the way Esker does its build kit, I think, lends itself to that blank slate mountain bike-ness about it. They have a base build that comes with a 34 fork, comes with a DPS rear shock, very plain vanilla mountain bike. Or you can go with something similar to what we got, a 36 up front, DPX rear shock, and it gets a little bit burlier. I would definitely go up to the XL on this one if you're looking for that type of an experience.
Yeah. And at my end, at the opposite end of the size large high spectrum from you two, there have been some bikes here that I felt like I almost need to come down to a medium on. And this one felt really, really comfortable in terms of the cockpit size and just the overall dimensions of the bike. This is what it should have felt like to me.
And you're 5'9", 5'10"?
Somewhere in there, depends what my spine's doing on any given day. Yeah, 5'9" and a bit.
I think it's admirable for a brand to aim a size to fit people that are of the most commonly occurring height, at least in North America. So if you're of average height, I feel like there's no guessing game on this one.
The one thing that wasn't just perfect dialed fit for me was it did feel like the front was a little bit low. Enough so that I wondered, did our bike come with a 150? Because on Esker's website, you can either do a 150 or a 160 fork. Ours was a 160, but it did feel a little bit lower, but that also gives it a more maneuverable feel.
A lot of that maneuverability, it has pretty short chain stays, there's 425 in the rear. The numbers all sort of work together to be capable, but also be more manageable for a bike that is this cloud-like. Head angle is 65.5 degrees. I mean, I would say that's aggressive to moderate, but still it's not like a Yeti 64.5 degree head angle or anything nuts like that. The successful combination of efficient but comfortable climbing isn't entirely new to us. The rest of Weigel's designs all tend to check those boxes, but combining capable and precise descending is harder to achieve.
In some of the faster sections of trail that we were testing on, where you're just hauling down that downhill that we all at some point started getting kind of scared of, this definitely felt like the front wheel was a little closer in and the bike was not nervous, but it just didn't feel like a sled like some of these other bikes were. But everything else up on top in that slow, chunky, no flow zone, it was easy to move around. It was really responsive to rider input. It cornered really well. I love the way that you could pop it off of things. This is one of the few bikes here that I kind of got over some of my, oh, here we go thing, when I was actually able to pop it down some of those drops. And I think it does a good job of striking that balance of being a mountain bike or a trail bike without having to be categorized as it's at the enduro end of the spectrum or it is trying to be an XC bike. It is pretty indicative of what you could hope for in an all-round bike. Esker makes 2 bikes, this and a hardtail. Hardtail's called the Hey Duke. In spite of that, build quality was surprisingly good, and the menu, the build your bike menu, was a little unconventional. You started a basic bike for $4,000, and then instead of having, say, this is your NX, this is your GX, this is your XO build, you piece by piece kind of upgrade. So you can individually, component by component, upgrade as you're purchasing this bike or as you're speccing it out. So, you know, $200 additional price, you've got a higher quality rear shock. Another couple $100, you go up a level or 2 in the fork. You want a different dropper post, you add some money to it. You want a higher level of component group, you can add money. So you're not really constrained by the conventional, you've got 3 models of this one bike way of putting it together. Bike we tested was at about $6,000, which was, for what we had on it component-wise, that seemed like pretty much the ballpark value these days.
And the one I think, if you wanted to be on the entry level of the spectrum, would be the $4,000 build. I would get the better rear shock, better fork, and better brakes, costing an extra $450, $500 or so.
Yeah.
You can really pick what's important to you.
Yeah.
You can really prioritize things, and it's interesting looking at the options they have. There are some smaller brands in there. Bike that came to us had wolf tooth components mixed throughout, Industry 9 wheels, stuff that are more specific rider-driven brands that maybe with a bike like this that is a little bit of a different bike for right now, there's a nice match between those type of brands.
Esker's sales model serves the savvy riders that would be drawn to the Elkat in the first place. The bike even comes with a special tool needed to service Orion's concentric bottom bracket pivot. But the bike also comes with a unique combination of trail bike versatility and all-mountain plushness. BikeMag.com has the full review and the rest of the Bible videos.